We need to stop normalizing women getting an education. Education is literally ruining our sisters. Most of them don't even know how to run a household. Most of them aren't marriage material. Most of them are becoming the men that they want to marry. They study to become a doctor or a lawyer or this, that, and the other. And in the end, when they're 30, 35, unmarried, and barren, they're looking for the doctor at that age. They're looking for the lawyer. They're looking for the successful businessman at that age. Why is this? Because the fathers have prioritized education over them becoming housewives, becoming people women that are women. Not every woman needs to be educated and go get a college degree and this, that, and other. We don't need a billion doctors. Disgusting, man. Disgusting the state that we're in. But no, these fathers are okay with their daughters going to colleges where they end up committing zina because marriage is not fulfilled and it's put on the back burner.
I see what you're doing and I'm not gonna fall for it. I know that you're rage baiting and I know that you want to get some attention from people, and that's okay. I mean, it's working. I'm here. You got my attention. But I'm not gonna be enraged by what you said, because I will give you the benefit of a doubt that I do understand and see where you're coming from, and I will give you a few points. I agree with you on a few points, but let's get started. To some extent, we have started prioritizing the dunya over akhirah, and our sisters are being unmarried until age of 30, 35, even later, because they're pursuing some type of college degrees and career and being professional and successful and all that. And with being busy with that, they don't get married, they don't have families, and we're failing to practice the sunnah that is given to us, marrying young and having families. So in that regard, I do agree with you. That is not something that I'm happy to see, and I wish it was different. Now let's see where I disagree with you. And Islam also disagrees with you on this, where you said women don't need education. Not every woman needs to be educated. We simply need to just grow up and get married and have families. That's where you're wrong. Islam is ordering education for all. The first revelation in Islam is about read, learn, get educated. Don't be a blind follower. Men like you are going to be the same men that will eventually have their wives, when they go see a doctor, request a female, possibly Muslim doctor. Men like you will be asking for female Muslim teachers for their daughters. How in the world will you find these Muslim doctors, these Muslim teachers, these Muslim professionals when they're staying at home and not getting the education that we need? Furthermore, how do you expect an uneducated woman to be educating her children? Because she will be the first school, the first education for her children. A woman that is not educated and doesn't have knowledge can't educate her children. She will teach them how to wash their hands and wipe their butt. But how in the world is she going to teach them history? How is she going to teach them what they need in life? I mentioned history, but there's so much more that she needs to teach them. The mother is the first school. And if she has no education, how will her children be educated? Now let's imagine that you have a whole generation of women who will agree with you and do what you said, stop education and get married and have zero knowledge, just have their basic high school diploma and that's it. You know what will happen? I know this from history from my country. You will have a generation of women who are simply just housewives and don't know anything else. They're just housewives. They end up having children, most likely daughters. These daughters end up despising their mothers. They don't want to be anything like them because they are embarrassed by their mothers who don't know anything, who are so low educated that they are embarrassed by them and don't like to show up with them in public. And they vow to be a complete opposite of her mother. She will go to school and get her education so she doesn't end up like her. Now to the solution. Islam is all about middle ground. Why does education exclude marriage? Why is it that if you are pursuing your career, you are excluding marriage? Why can't women be married and continue their education? Why can't you continue going to college while you are married? You can simply pause having children. You don't have to have children right away as soon as you get married. Why is it such a problem to be married and both continue your education while you're being married? You help each other achieve higher goals, get your careers, or get your education, while staying away from fitna, while practicing sunnah, being married young, and there is barakah in being married. So this is where the community needs to get together. Instead of waiting for you to have your degree and then get married, why don't parents support the young people to continue their education while they're married? That should be a community effort by the parents, by the families, by the young couple. A young husband shouldn't have a problem, and he should be encouraging his wife to continue the education while she's married to him. He should be helping her. He should be cheering her on. What is wrong with having education? There shouldn't be a problem with being educated, successful, having a career, and being married. The only people that seem to have a problem with that is the men who have some type of, they feel intimidated by a woman who has education and who is successful, and now he needs to outdo her because otherwise he looks less than her. He is intimidated by her success, and now he has to up that. So because some men cannot achieve these levels, they feel more comfortable with a basic housewife. So instead of being intimidated, maybe take an example by these women and get your sleeves up. Not in the gym, bro. I mean, sit down in the chair, get the books out, and get your education. So you don't see the woman as your competition, but you see her as your motivation. And she inspires you to do better, and you work together on being the best you can. And last point. Just because a woman gets married to a man doesn't mean that she will be necessarily provided for the rest of her life. What if he ends up neglecting her? What if he ends up having an accident and is no longer capable of working and can no longer provide for her, and now he needs to be taken care of? What if he ends up dying and now she's a widow with children? In your situation, in your imaginary world, she will be forced to remarry immediately because she has nothing to fall back onto. She has to be taken care of by other men. So as soon as you are no longer capable of providing, she has to leave you, or, you know, if she's a widow, she has to immediately get remarried to be taken care of by the next man. Whereas if she had some education to fall back onto, she could use it to continue providing for her and not be forced to be remarried to somebody simply because she needs financial support. You see, having an education doesn't necessarily mean that this woman will pursue her career, but it is necessary to have it in her pocket just in case life happens.